on amazing. Welcome everyone to this wonderful presentation with AccountIfi. Today we are talking about accounting and automation, especially for SMEs, small and medium enterprises. My name is Jeev Sahu, and we are joined by Pritesh and Karthik from AccountIfi. Today, the presentation will be from Pritesh, and he will be walking us through what Accountify does, how automation works in finance, especially for SMEs, some case studies, a lot of question and answers. We have already started getting some questions on the side, and we have the Q&A tab and the chat tab open for you guys to keep asking us more questions. Automation is a big topic these days, and especially in small and medium enterprises, what we have seen is that founders, leaders, they do not fully understand the cost and time benefit of automation because this is kind of reserved for larger companies with larger expenses. And many a times people carry on doing business as usual in manual or semi-manual ways, which leads to issues, data issues, time issues, and so forth. But players like Accountify are really changing the game, and today that's the purpose of the discussion. Let us hear it from Pritesh. Welcome, Pritesh. I would love to have an introduction of you and to know all about Accountify.
Thank you, Jeev. Thank you for the introduction. Hi, my name is Pritesh Madhya. I'm the business head of the division called AccountIfi. In the logo, you will see it has AI, automation in accounting. We are trying to use AI, artificial intelligence, machine learning as much as possible to help small and medium enterprises do the work quickly at a very cost-effective price using new technologies. I'm a chartered accountant myself. I worked in PricewaterhouseCoopers in London and Birmingham. I was then with KPMG in Mumbai. I'm a UK qualified chartered accountant with about 15 to 18 years experience working with prima facie multinational companies, which has turnover of more than a billion or about 2 billion. But what I've also found out is there is a disparity in technology adoption by the small and medium enterprises for various reasons. One, they do not understand the cost benefit of taking up new technologies. So we have taken this as an aim to provide automated bookkeeping, accounting, and advisory services by using a combination of experts that's like us who are chartered accountants who understand the finance world alongside the new age technology to help save time, labor, and paperwork and automated most of the repetitive data entry processes in AccountIfi. The debits and credits have not changed over the course of the time. It's remained the same for the last how many years we are doing accounting. And there are various processes that can be automated in place because they are mostly repetitive in nature. The transactions are repetitive in nature. And hence, we have created various automation tools to understand what are the processes that can be automated. And then we try and do that and help those companies in the small and medium enterprises to get efficient accounting work done. What do? We have a series of providing a 360-degree platform, right from bookkeeping, management accounting, compliance services, and risk management. We are part of your 360-degree accounting services, such as getting your invoices processed, creating your sales ledger, your controls account, your reconciliation, helping you do your month-end expenses, as well as revenue analysis. We also help you in your compliance services, like your VAT registration, your monthly, quarterly VAT returns. You may have different schemes in the UK from a margin scheme or a confirmation statements that needs to go out to your companies. So we help you do your bookkeeping, your compliance, as well as management also needs to understand what kind of businesses is happening, what is the revenue, what is the margins. So with our automation tools, we are able to create this profit and loss account, cash flow forecasting, budgetary forecast, and journal entries for month end has been processed without manual effort as much as possible through bots. The question is, how do we create relief? What is it that we do which is very different that helps company understand, because each company is different in its nature. A manufacturing company has a different process. To a SaaS company will have a different process. To any other uh, companies like a retail company. So what is more important or prima facie? How do we create relief? We have about 4-step or a 5-step process here. First, we treat every client independently and differently. No two clients are same for us. So we go in, understand the importance of the KPIs or the various metrics that is important for each industry. We understand what kind of data is available, how much of this data is manually processed, so which go through a data analysis and validation process. And then our bot leaders or our solution providers, as they call, design a solution which will help them understand whatever processes that is being done manually, can those data or can be extracted through an OCR? Can there be various automation techniques that can be put through? So then comes the design and the solution phase, where we provide solutioning and design the problem to make sure things are in a various certain format, so that it can be developed through an automation tool. And after that, we go through a development phase. So we go to our coding, a bot is customized for each processes, and then it is tested with various users to see can it handle the real world scenario. And after the testing phase is done, we go through the report analytics and KPI to understand how much cost saving has been done, how much was the manual labor for a process before it was automated, how much of the cost saving is there after there's an automation. So we go through a 6 phases project, which will take about 3 weeks to about 5 weeks, depending on how the automation and the complexity of the process is there. I know it may sound a little vague because this looks like a theory. To make you understand a little better, there is a specific case study that we have for a company which is a Boston-based SaaS provider.
Pritesh, we had a question for the previous slide. How long does it take from step 1 to 6, in case you want to touch upon that?
It can take as small as a week to a maximum of 8 weeks, depending on the complexity of the process. For processes where cash analysis has been done, we have taken a week to create bots and implement them. For a complicated manufacturing company, where cost accounting needs to be done, we have taken up to 6 weeks.
Cool.
We would like to give you a specific case study of a Boston-based SaaS company that provides invoices to more than 2,000 libraries and schools. The challenges was they had a lot of contracts coming in each month, and they had to validate these contracts, understand the data points that needs to be extracted from these contracts, and then create these invoices, and then collect the money for these invoices, so that the overall working capital cycle had to be managed. What we found out was, because there was no automation in place, the CFO had a lot of difficulties in ensuring that the correct invoices were sent out to the customers, because a lot of changes were happening. There are about 15 or 16 data points that need to be extracted from these invoices, which was not happening. Secondly, there was a lot of attritions happening within the team because pressure was building up. They had to collect the finances, and they were not able to deliver these KPIs. So what we did is, our accounting and bot development team went in. We standardized these contracts. We understood what are the contracts that can be standardized, the formats were standardized, the details that needs to be extracted from the contracts, like the name, the address, the value, the product description, the signature, everything was extracted through an optical character recognition bot, which we created. Then it seamlessly created these data points, converted into an invoice, and these invoices can be created in any of the softwares. It could be QuickBooks, it could be Sage, it could be Xero, it could be any software that these clients are working on. And then the invoices were sent out through the automated bots itself. After that, invoices were sent. we were able to reduce the collection period from 150 days to about 45 days because there was no mismatch. Whatever the contract details was there was validated and sent as an invoice. So there was no mismatch between the contract data and the invoice data. And the payment collection period reduced immensely, and they were able to collect cash as less than 45 days, which was generally taking 150 days to do so. This helped these automation bots help them not only to reduce the cost of sending invoices, help them to get cash in as quickly as possible. At the same time, there was less attrition because a lot of the heavy lifting was done by the bot itself. The second most important bot that we created for one more other process was procure to pay process for a oil and drill company in Azerbaijan. They had massive contracts coming through each month with a lot of suppliers, and each supplier had a lot of different supplier statements that they processed. So they had about 150 to 200 suppliers, and each supplier had a different supplier statement, and they had to do reconciliation each month. So there was a 5-step process involved. First, you had to create the master data in your accounting system, in your ERP, or this where the global vendor details, the address details, the products, and the orders were put through. And then they had to do a 3-way mapping between the orders placed, the goods received, and the invoice that was received from the vendor to make sure everything was processed, the dates, the pricing, the quantity had to be matched. So this was slightly more complex process in nature, and this bot took about 10 to 12 weeks to deploy because we had to extract data from various parameters, right from the vendor master's data to invoices to your bank statements to make sure that the payments has been done correctly as well. So this bots took about 12 weeks to do. And with this, we were able to reduce the payment cycle by 30% because there was no mismatches between the invoices that was coming in vis-a-vis to the orders placed. And if there were differences, if any, it was identified by the bots itself. For example, if an order was placed for 100, but invoice was received on only 50. So these mismatches were easily presented by the bot and given to the management to look out for. Why there was either less, was it that less products was delivered, or they did not have enough material to send it now, so they're going to send it in batches. And these queries were readily sent without the interference of human management. Only the exceptions were going to the finance vertical. And by this, they were able to reduce their number of people from 22 to about 17 or 18 people. At the same time, they were able to ensure that the payments to each vendor was going seamlessly, ensuring that there is no differentiation in terms of each vendor because everybody was treated equally, so that the things were working faster and you're getting the material as quickly as possible. We also work with a lot of accounting firms. Our bots, we have an offshore delivery center model. We ensure that we white label our product and work with clients like accounting firms in the UK to make sure we do all the basic bookkeeping, to clearing the trial balances, to able to send out the management accounts, to be able to then put it in the company's house seamlessly without any integration issues. This has also helped accounting firms reduce 50% of their costs. So what software we support? I think the good thing about the bots are they can integrate and work with any software like Xero, Sage, QuickBook, Iris, Cashflow, Zoho, Free Agent, and Tax. So these are some of the areas where bot has been implemented. But our bots are not just limited to these softwares. These softwares our bots can be used on any software as much as possible. As long as we create the rules, there are clear defined flowcharts that has been available, we can definitely use our bots in any softwares. Some of the major IP or major bots that we have created, which is used on every day, is invoice creation bots. We do a lot of supplier reconciliation bots. We also have bots where companies have got more than 75, 80 bank accounts for various multinational, for companies where they could have 10 subsidiaries or 15 subsidiaries. So those bank statements needs to be uploaded and reconciled every day in every day. So our bots help to do that as well. We have bots that helps to do the VAT calculation every month and our data book. So we also take the management accounts at the month at the end of each month, which we have data book bots. So we have created more than 65 bots which are customized for each sector. And these are some of the popular bots that has been used predominantly by our client at this point of time. In terms of security, in terms of data management, we are a GDPR compliant company. We have ISO 9001 2015, which is Information Security Management System, has been approved. We are also an ISO 2001 2013. So we have made sure that by the use of our bots, we are totally compliant with the EU and UK regulations at this point. These are some of the clients that we work for at this point of time. We work with a lot of chartered accounting firms. We work with US clients as well. So our bots are not limited to a particular geography. As long as the debits and credits, as long as the workflow has been streamlined and has been clearly the path has been driven, our bots can work with any clients at this point of time. So we work with a lot of UK clients. We work with a lot of US clients as well. We've got clients in Canada and in India as well at this point. To help CFOs or to make a decision, to help the accounting world to make a decision, to help the entrepreneurs to make a decision, we have started something known as a Super 10. What do we do is we work for 10 days with you to understand the processes. This 6 steps process takes a lot of time, and most of the small and medium enterprises will not come upfront because they are worried that it will be very expensive to have automation solutions. So to give that relief, to make sure that they are not worried about the upfront cost, to understand what is the cost versus the benefit, we have created a Super 10 where 10 days we work with you at absolutely no cost. Our bot leaders, our technology enablers, our CA firms will come together to make sure they understand the process. We do a small POC, proof of concept. We show you how the proof of concept works for you, and then we will ensure that it is implemented in the software so that you can see the benefit of it. And after the proof of concept has been approved, we sign a contract with you, and then we start working to make sure we agree on a price, and then we sign a contract to make sure we give you the best output from a finance vertical as such. Who am I? I've just introduced myself. I've worked in the UK, US. I'm a UK qualified chartered accountant as well. So I understand the UK terminologies. I understand the rules and regulations of UK at this point in time. Thank you. This is me. And this is our address at this point in time. If you have any questions, please do.
In fact, Pritesh, we have been getting a bunch of questions, and I'm very happy for the interaction that is going on. So we can go through these questions one by one. But before I go to that one, in the Super 10, did I catch it correctly that it is completely without, like it's a mini pilot that you do without the risk element from, except the time risk from the customers? Could you share? Do they have to pay for it, or?
I think definitely it's a small pilot. Only ask is I would ask them to sign an NDA so that we are able to access their data and accept time. There is no other risk involved because we go inside. Our team goes inside. Our technology enablers go inside. Our accounting team goes inside to understand the processes without disturbing their business as usual. So there is no other risk except the time at this point. And
so effectively, yeah, you finish, please.
As we finish the proof of concept, they will be able to say, see, what was the time taken per transaction before the automation was implemented? What was the time taken after the automation was implemented? So they will be able to understand the cost versus the benefit of using AccountIfi at this point of time after the pilot has been done.
Amazing. So this has two benefits according to what I have experienced in larger organizations, because smaller organizations are worried about the cost they're putting upfront, and they don't understand how much they can use for the rest of the 12 months, rest of the 24 months, or whatever is the period they're signing up for. So that means that if you have done this Super 10 mini pilot, they are getting some real life information about how it is going to help them, and that will help them plan for the next 12 months and 24 months. In fact, you are sharing part of that risk, which is a big thing, and that probably that is a big um, blocker for SME CFO to jump into automation.
Definitely, Jeev. I think that's what we found in the past, because they're not ready to take that risk or spend that money, because they do not know who they are working with, what kind of data needs to be processed. And we are here to take away that uh, mental bandwidth or the mental block, so that they can see success. I want to make sure that automation is being done, used by each SME as much as possible, because the technology is available. So why not use it? If you need somebody to help you use that technology, we are there for you.
Brilliant. I'll go through the questions as they have come. And that is Jan asking, is this bot free and open code?
This is not free and open code. These are our own IPs, and we have not kept it open at this point of time.
Will SAP D365 Oracle be replaced by these bots in the future?
No, they are the ERP systems on which our bots work at this point of time. So SAP and 365, we have developed bots for them at this point of time as well. And no, this is not a product, so they will not get, not to get replaced as well.
Brilliant. In fact, on the same system, one question was, don't people like QuickBooks already do these kind of automation? And there was another question, I'm trying to combine them, is okay, first of all, let us answer those two questions separately so that we give enough attention. So will QuickBooks kind of already start automating these things? I think you are an integrator with QuickBooks. If you can explain that a bit more.
Yes, QuickBooks has some inbuilt machine learning apps from a bank statement perspective. But what QuickBooks does not do is extract data from different uh, ERP systems or integrate those data together, which our automation tools or bots are able to do. We also have various OCR, optical character recognition technology, that helps us to extract data and input that in QuickBooks, which QuickBooks doesn't have. And that's why QuickBooks is only a software. We are the service provider with the knowledge of accounting to make sure that everything is integrated and you're able to create that P&L and balance sheet. So we are like our accountants plus the technology enablers. So that's why we are not replacing QuickBooks at this point of time. However, there are some features available, but it is not specific to each industry.
Brilliant. In fact, on that, there are two questions that can be combined. They are two distinct questions, but in your answer, you mentioned both of them. So I'll just mention both of them. The first one is, how accurate is your OCR automation, especially from paper or older documents, or is it always digital? That is part one, and you can elaborate. And the second one, because you mentioned it helps the accountants, can we use this bot to produce accounts and corporation tax for HMRC without involving accountants? These are the two questions.
Yes, I'll answer the first question. Our bots, if it is PDF native PDFs, uh, our bots accuracy is as high as 99%. With handwritten, the accuracy goes down very much, because the technology is yet to be proven. But I can definitely say that with PDFs, native PDFs, our accuracy is more than 99% at this point. And yes, you can create your final tax accounts with our bots at this point of time. There are certain rules we have created which can be used to create those final accounts.
Tell us more about the HITL that you had mentioned, human in the loop, because are we taking, like you gave one case study where the number of team members were reduced from 22 to 16 or 17, so about 5 people. So is it that we can allocate these people for better projects, or is it like people should be worried about bots taking over their work? Can you elaborate?
Think it's all about upskilling. I think we should not look at uh, uh, people being taken from a process, but however they were used, they were upskilled to do different things within the project. So with when there was calculator and Excel came through, from a basic laptop, we have moved to so much smartphones and others. So technology always move forward. So it's always not about one taking away the job of the other, but what has happened is that five people have been used efficiently to do other processes in the management system, and there has been a lot of upscaling there. What has happened is that there has been a better efficiency in the system, and management is able to reward the people better so that the same work can be done at the most efficient way.
Brilliant. So that again, the two other questions I'm sharing. One is if a company is having people with limited technical expertise, do you provide training? Do they need a learning curve on that? So it says how user friendly is your software for SMEs with limited technical expertise, because that is also another blocker. They understand numbers pretty well, but if you give them a bunch of things, systems and processes, technically, there might be either a learning curve or a confusion stage. So could you elaborate on that?
We see you. I'm not going to change any of your accounting softwares. If you whatever accounting software you're using at this point, it could be QuickBooks, Sage, or whatever. So these bots that they come in, we develop the bots and we implement them. So from your side, we do not need to give you any kind of training because we control the IP. We ensure that the bots are extraction is done from our side. So from your side and training side, only thing we need to put in place is the general process in place so that the extraction is done clearly, so the automation is working clearly. Except that there is no heavy lifting that the team needs to do. And definitely, when you go through that 6 weeks or the relief process, we
Mm-hmm.
are part of your team. We are not your external team. We become part of your team. So there will be a lot of communication, learning that happens, and we make sure that all that learning and communication is done 360-degree both by the in-house team and us so that
Mm-hmm.
it's easier work together and work as a team. So it's always about that.
So people should not be worried about learning a new system, is what you mean.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Brilliant. I have seen many times, even for data and ERP, new systems are put in, and there is a learning curve. But what you are saying is the bots themselves are taking care of that part. And of course, process is actually something that they have to put anyways to standardize, and
Yes.
that helps them. And in fact, Jan also has another question. So, are these bots then being used? Can this be used in business process transformation? If so, how?
Yes, they can be used in business process automations as long as we are able to define what those processes are. We are able to standardize and understand what are the pain points that is happening at this point of time and how much of the heavy lifting needs to be done by the bots. It can be used in that processes also.
Brilliant. So, in a way, you are becoming their active hand to help them change these processes. I'm just looking at some other questions because you already answered that you adhere to UK and European regulations as well. Are there any other regions that you're adhering? The actual question is, how does your software ensure compliance with financial regulations in different regions, especially for SMEs? Yeah.
We are our core focus area has been USA and
Mm-hmm.
UK and Europe at this point of time. So we make sure that if any other country has certain specific financial regulations that needs to be complied with, we'll understand that, and we'll make sure that our team is our IT team, our accounting team, our finance team, are all put together. We get the certification as well. So the GDPR, the ISO certification has been done to comply with a specific UK and the US market. However, that does not stop or does not make us believe that we cannot go to any other country, because we are equally trying to get those certifications done.
There is a question that came about reporting, and you did have some slides about reporting. But do you provide forecasts on cash? And if you have gone through this process or optimization, will the bots be able to say what to do to optimize cash flow?
We do not give recommendations to optimize the cash flow, because it all depends on specific industries, in terms of how they manage their working capital in terms of receivables. However, based on past data, and analytics and machine learning, we will definitely be able to help you and tell you, if this was your revenue and this is your EBITDA, vis-a-vis this is 60 days of cash collection period and 90 days your payment period. And if you grow at a certain specific stage, with automation, we can help you and tell you what would your working capital require and how much cash infusion is required at each stage. So definitely that analytics is something that we can do.
Well, that itself is a big thing to start with, because many a times they need detailed data crunching and correct data crunching to come to that. And of course, later, once you start with these kind of steps, later someone else can review, because you're not really replacing the CFO. Helping you're helping the CFO. So in a way, um, a much more powerful version of a calculator. I mean, calculator is not the best way to put it, because this is far more on that, but I'm trying to simplify the experience. One more question
The
that is
goal of
showing.
AccountIfi,
Yeah, go ahead.
the goal of AccountIfi is not to replace anybody, but act as an enabler and give them the data points that is required so that they can make better decisions in the financing world. They can run their business in a better way. They can understand the trends or the problems area at a faster pace. So that is the core goal of what we're trying to achieve through the automation and the human in the loop.
I remember in the previous discussions we had some examples of reducing the payable time, invoice time, and so forth. Would you have some examples to share? Some more?
Yeah, sure. As I mentioned, that the SaaS company that we're working for, they had more than 2,000 libraries that had to send invoices every month. Literally every month, 2,000 invoices had to go out. And each month there could be chances in the contract that the customer comes back and say, "Hey, can I change this product from this? Can you quickly send a new invoice?" And as they were sending those invoices, a lot of errors were happening. Sending out the wrong amount with the wrong amount, wrong address, wrong email IDs, because the contracts were neither standardized, and the human in the loop was not really the team was not being very agile, or as they say, they were not giving enough time to understand the details. And because of that, first the invoice was going wrong, and then they had to wait to 60 days to see if it has been processed. When they go back and check with the client and say, "Hey, you've not paid in 60 days," they tell you, "Look, you've sent me a wrong invoice. Can you go back and change the invoice?" So that was creating a larger loop for them. And that when the standardization happened and the invoices was going on time, they were able to understand that they cannot now just say that this is wrong, the invoice date is wrong, this product is wrong. So they were forced to make the payment within the time schedule for which they had agreed the contract with.
So this itself is reducing a lot of rework, and especially in SMEs, rework is actually very costly, because I mean, first of all, getting it right the first time is one way of doing it, but if you have to have rework, then it reduces not just the data accuracy, but also the brand trust, isn't it?
Absolutely, and that's why bots are the tool that gets used as much as possible, so that you try to do things first time with a lot more accuracy, so that it's easier to work faster. Then go back, make the changes, then resend, the document back to the client.
Can customers get a demo of this even before the Super 10 part is done? How can people experience?
I think yes, we have some video recordings of automation that we've done. We can share it with our client. For our active clients, please can you? We have our website called www.accountify.co, or you can write to us at sales@accountify.co, and you can tell us what are the problems that you're facing at this point of time. Like it could be your accounts payable cycle, it could be your accounts receivable cycle, or it could be just your general ledger reconciliation. And based on those data points that you send us, we can send you some of the recordings or automation tools that we have created so that you can have a look at it and understand how the customized solution is working for you. And after that, if you're happy with that, then we can sign a super tin. We can get that working, and then we can start the whole process as such.
That's quite useful. In fact, some of the attendees have expressed interest to try this out as well. One question that came is when the SME grows, do they have to change their system, or if they have to move from, let's say, QuickBooks to something else, or if they got an investor and they are changing their systems, how does scalability at that stage work? Because most founders have had this. They're always on the growth track, and it's a good thing. But if they have to redo the bots, or how does that part work with Accountify?
I think the most important thing is people do not change their accounting system overnight. They generally have a 2 years or a 3 years time period. When the investments come through, when the scalability happens, it doesn't happen overnight. So it does take a 2 years or 3 years transition period, or generally 1.5, 2 years period. So till then, when we have the bots ready, we will, if they change to a new ERP system also, we will be able to customize that and send it. But generally, what we have seen is even if they have taken the first round of funding or the second round of funding, they stick to their accounting system for the next 2 or 3 years. So our solutions still become viable for them. However, if they change the processes, if the accounting becomes a larger process, we have discussions right upfront to see, when you're trying to scale up, how we can not add new people, but use the same processes and bots to quickly, help you scale that. So we help you during the transition phase as well. And if there is a change in the ERP system also, we are able, because we understand the processes, what is happening in the past, we are able to gauge what needs to be changed and get them implemented in less than 2 weeks' time.
Amazing. I saw the examples are from a SaaS perspective, software as a service, and even from the oil industry as well. But are you industry agnostic, and do you have a preference? Because we do have people listening in from variety of industries, and that is one question that has popped up.
We are not specific. Our bots are not only specific to any industry. These are some of the examples where the impact was very huge, and customer had a very big relief, and that's the reason why we're talking in millions here for the oil and gas industry, and for the SaaS company it was the number of invoices, so that's why we chose them. We also have restaurants that we work for. We have companies, retail agents that we work for. We have real estate brokers that we work for. We've got a small insurance sub broker who we are working and automating. So we can, as long as there is a process, as long as the process that can be defined, we use our bot in any industry.
And what I observed is even if these processes are changing a lot, and from their customers to customer, there are a lot of customization, you have the ability to change with them, and that helps, because many times larger companies come with blocks of automation saying this is how it should be done, and if you do it this way we can automate it, but if you don't do it this way, it adds to the custom software development, which is a big problem for small businesses. Am I understanding right that you are already eliminating that by working from the very beginning in the customization?
Absolutely, I think you've hit it right. We are not here to change things overnight. We understand what is the current processes, and we standardize that as much as possible, so that the team does not have to go back and do a lot of customization there.
I missed one question here, on my left. How is data security and sensitive data protected for SMEs? especially if they're in the healthcare sector and there is a lot of sensitive data and you are using OCR and other techniques. Do you have things in place for data security?
Yeah, considering we are ISO certified, we have various certifications in place. Any data that gets extracted, we do not store it more than the required timeline as per the GDPR. Uh, we have no systems to take that data out. Like our systems, we do not have USB sticks. We do not give them print access. So there is no way, or the mobile phones are not allowed in our centers or other areas. So we make sure that we have all those basic physical checkpoints in place. We have software that tracks all the data is used. And considering GDPR compliance, we have to have a list of how we are using that data as well. So we make sure all that is in place so that the data is not hacked or misused.
Can you create separate reports for internal stakeholders and board members separately using these boards?
As long as the numbers match and everything is the same, we can create as many numbers, as many different reports as required. For the dashboards can be created differently as well.
Yeah,
As long as we
definitely.
are communicating the same thing, it definitely can be done.
Definitely, that has to be there. I mean, I think the question from this founder is mainly because they have to customize and present the information in a different manner to the board and different manner internally. Internally, it's more about execution and strategic, tactical strategy, as well as, but on the board side, it is more on a higher view and on a bigger strategy. So the way it is presented, even if it is
So
the same number.
yeah, so the same numbers is looked
Mhm.
upon differently by the board, is looked upon
Yeah,
differently by the manager, and is looked upon differently by the entrepreneur. When we set the
that's
process, we understand what KPIs that they need to track each month. We understand, are they only looking at cash, or are they looking at the collection period, are they looking at the invoices that is being generated? Based on the what we go back into the accounting system and they are able to extract that data and then create those dashboards each month and send it to the each independent uh, owner in the specific format that has been agreed. So as long as we are able to agree what is required upfront, we are able to do that and send it to the existing owners in the specific format which they require to look at.
And coming from the investment background, the same numbers have to be presented in a different way if the report is going to a potential investor. So I believe the answer is yes, that you can present it again.
It can be done. Yes.
It can be done. Amazing. There is a question that came that many of our team members are working remotely. How do the bots need to be changed for that? Do they all have to be in the same place? I think this is coming from financial regulation concerns, because many times certain organizations want the team members to be in a more secure kind of environment. What is
Uh,
your experience in?
see, our bots. We generally what happens is we given a username or a password, or we are given certain login details, and
Mhm.
irrespective of the fact where we are, because we have all this GDPR compliance and ISO certifications, and from a security perspective, it doesn't matter where they are because we do not store the data in our systems. So we
Okay.
always ensure that the data is always stored in your drive, and we do not externally store them. So from that
So
perspective,
what happens if the team member is somewhere else and they are using their own device, still their own device, but where is the data? Is it there in their own servers? Is their own local device? I know it's not with you because you clarified
it's in
that.
the same. Generally, we have the server access, so it is
Okay.
always stored in their own server or in their own network. So we do not take the data out of their own network or the server at this point.
And just to add here, and especially because I have been working with some other similar consultants who do a very high security work, including the defense and the government. And what COVID has done is that it has forced organizations to put these policies and processes in place so that the data stays inside a secure environment, even if
Right.
the person is at their home or in a co-working place or something else. So the data still, the data integrity and data security is not compromised.
Absolutely.
Um, I'm just scanning through because you have answered some of the questions that are coming already. Uh, do you support multi-currency? That's a question here.
Yes, we support multi-currency. Considering our bots are working in US, Canada, and UK, we support
Right.
multi-currency.
Brilliant. It's good to have it clarified, and I'm glad that so many different kinds of questions are coming. Um, what's the highest amount of financial data volume that you have done? This is an interesting.
From where? Is it from the bank? Is it from the bank? Is it from the invoices? Is it from so we've processed cumulatively processed more than 600 million of data, cumulative from a banking transaction perspective, or if you look at invoices, more than 150 million would be the number from an OCR
Okay.
extraction, and that is the number that we are looking at. Yeah, that's what we've done.
I think what they are looking is like how much you can process, and the answer is you can scale the data.
Yeah,
I,
absolutely.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Can you finish? Yeah, you finish.
no. Yeah. So from a scalability, yes, I think we processed a lot of data from the bank statements. We have had banks 150, 200 pages of bank statement comings in every 1 hour or 2 hour, which got processed through an OCR at that point of time also. And we had from our suppliers, we get some 300 supplier statements, which has to be
Mhm.
processed in a day. We've done that also through our OCR because we've developed the bots, we've created those rules so they understand how the extraction needs to be done.
Speaking of OCR, you did say about digital documents, you did mention about handwritten documents, but what about printed documents with special characters, especially in Europe? As not every character is just the English alphabet. There are certain accents and dots and so forth. And so from printed documents, how has been your accuracy?
Honest answer is we are not there yet, but we are working on it at this point of time. So for us, English, prima facie English as a language, has been the main focus area. But saying that, we are developing our customized bots to be able to read different languages. But at this point of time, English has been a prima facie, which we've been working on. But we're getting there. We're getting there.
Are you using blockchain for smart contracts?
No, we are not using blockchain at this time.
Okay. Are you planning to?
Yes, we are looking at that as an option, but
Okay.
we believe that technology is not required at this point of time, uh,
Okay.
as we are able to do that without the use of blockchains. But yes, we can do that because the softwares that we work with, QuickBooks, Sage, Zero, do not use that blockchain because we are only an enabler on top of the software, and that's the reason why we are not using that.
And yeah, this question had to come, but people are curious. What is the annual cost of this bot to use in SMEs? I know these kind of answers could be, it depends, but I think you have some case studies to give us some kind of direction.
We generally, our customized solution can be as low as 500 pounds to about 4,000 to 4,500 pounds a month. So
Right.
that's the ballpark number. And yes, as usual, depends, but it definitely has been as low as 500 pounds. We created customized bots for people with less than 500 pounds or a monthly billing to about 4,500 or 7,500 pounds as well.
Brilliant. I have a question here about physical products, and I mean, I'll try to understand and rephrase it. The question is, does your software handle inventory management and cost control for physical products? What I understand from your explanation, please help me understand better. The SME has its own software to do their inventory, and your bots are on top of their systems. Is this how it works, or?
That's right. So we are not creating any new softwares for inventory management. As long as there are customized inventory management systems which is already plugged in, we want to make sure whatever the plugins that is there, and when the final accounts are done, these plugins and what the financial information is there in QuickBooks or Sage, are they talking to each other? Are there any variances? Are there any obsoletes in inventory which we have not been tracking? So these bots help you do that at this point of time. But we do not create any new customized software as such.
Amazing. What's your message to suffering accountants and CFOs?
I think we are there to help you. There could be a lot of crisis in the system because people must have left. There could be certain personal grievances that could have taken away your time, or there could be a lot of errors in the system because you don't have the right process in place. Whatever it is, there is a solution available, and that solution with our technology plus human in the loop. We have the experience of working with a lot of clients. We have the experience of working with small and medium enterprises to larger clients. We have the experience of looking at every process in the account system, and we are able to streamline that. We'll be able to remove whatever the challenges are and create some seamless experiences for you. And for that, please use a super 10, and that's the message that I'd like to give, so that you can
Amazing.
understand how those work, and we can make sure that can be used to help save time, reduce error, at the same time do things at a most cost effective way.
Amazing. I personally even understood a bit more about AccountIfi because this is seriously going to change the game. And I would like to add that we are also providing a 15 to 30 minute call so that you can talk to us, ask more questions. I'm amazed by the variety of questions that come, but that's a good thing because people really face challenges and they're looking for solutions. And Pritesh and team are here to help. So that's the key message. And now is the time to take the automation not just in the larger companies burning larger amounts of funds, but bring them into smaller companies who equally have same amount of or sometimes even higher number of risks than larger companies, especially because there is so much of customization. Every customer wants completely different things, and if people like Accountify can change cost and time impact, that can accelerate the small and medium enterprise uh, much faster than what they had initially planned. So I believe this is like a positive steroid, let me say. Am I right?
Absolutely, Jeev. Definitely a steroid that does not have to use for a longer period of time. We'll make sure things are working before that itself. So looking forward to meeting you people, looking forward to interesting and new challenges, and looking forward to provide new solutions as well. So thank you everybody for joining this call, and thank you for asking so many questions, and it just make sure that we are able to communicate what we need to say to our founders and CFOs at this point.
Amazing. From my side, Pritesh and Karthik, I really thank you for taking the time to answer. And dear audience, you may have even more questions. The recording of this call will be available, so you can ask us even more questions. The more questions come, we are happier. So please do keep commenting. Please do keep sending your questions. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for joining this call. And I hope to see you soon in the next site where we are using automation and helping you get things done faster. Thank you once again.
The webinar has ended.